another episode of the Cozy Corner of Cinema. This is episode number 158, being recorded on Thursday, April 10th, 2025 at 6:27 p.m. We've got a nice cup of coffee right here. It is absolutely delicious. It warms us up and it makes us all feel good. Whether you have hot coffee or hot tea or hot cocoa, you get under those blankets, man, with a book or a film. And man, I tell you, you are just, that is just total coziness right there, man. It feels wonderful. And you feel it too, man. If you look chilly, you got goosebumps on your arm, you take a nice sip of that hot beverage you got, and man, you just feel those goosebumps just trickle away. It's just really wonderful, man. But I hope you're all doing well. I hope you all are staying consistent and steadfast with your goals, with your hopes and your dreams, getting the job done one day at a time. That's all we can do with the time given to us, man. It's some people have a different mentalities when it comes to getting the work done. Some people, in terms of being consistent, some people say you should, they write every day, or they write maybe 3 times a week, or maybe whatever it is, man. It's ultimately your kind of determination of whatever it is, or except for you to determine kind of the time that you can get to kind of focus on, be really kind of focused on your craft, man, whatever it is you're trying to accomplish. We all have different responsibilities, different, people. It's sort of like, you don't have to go, to work, but at the same time, it's like, well, you got to get money to pay the bills, because if you don't get money, then you're out of a house or an apartment, then you can't, then you're not focused on writing anymore, you're not focused on composing, you're focusing on, where am I going to sleep next, or that. So we all have choices every day. We have battles we can choose to fight and not fight. But as long as we're getting the job done, man, I think that's really what kind of counts the most. And just being cool, man. That's really all it takes. Just being. Not succumbing to, being on social media all day and just getting mad at, oh man, I can't believe this person said this. I'm gonna start getting fights in the comments and stuff. It's just, it's just gonna. There ain't no light at the end of that tunnel, man. It's just a dark tunnel, and getting online and getting this and that. It's just 1,000 voices kind of screaming into the void, and it's just not worth the time, man. You could use that time to be doing anything else. Unless that's what you like doing, then hey, man, God bless you. It's your time, it's your life. But if I'm awake and I'm here, man, I'm not dilly dallying. I got things to do, man, every single day. And some days you're more successful than others, and that's okay, as long as the effort is there and the intent to accomplish your goals and dreams, man. Because if you're trying to you're trying to finish a book or something, man, you're trying to like learn a language, you got to be really focused on that and be like, okay, well, what time do I have today to read this book or learn this language, or I don't know, whatever it is you want to do, paint this portrait. It's not going to happen in 2 seconds. You really got to find the time for that, and just staying consistent with whatever that means to you is of the utmost importance. Gosh, my throat's getting dry. I should have more of this coffee right here. Let's talk about some films, man. This is the Cozy Corner of Cinema, and we're going to talk about cinema, man. We're going to go back to 2003, talking about a film from Fenton Bailey and Randy Barbato, the film Party Monster, starring Macaulay Culkin and Seth Green. And before we even talk about the film, man, the background of Fenton Bailey and Randy Barbato, the kinds of films they've made is very interesting. They've done primarily documentaries, I see. A lot of music videos, a lot of like TV stuff. They've done documentaries including The Eyes of Tammy Faye, which was eventually turned into a feature narrative film starring Jessica Chastain and Michael Shannon. They did a documentary Inside Deep Throat. They've done actually a documentary on on the story here, Party Monster. I think the full title is Party Monster: The Shockumentary from 1998, as well as other titles including Maplethorpe: Look at the Pictures. Actually, that's on my to watch list. Funnily enough, I didn't even know they directed that, about the fascinating life between the artist. I don't know if he was an artist or just a photographer, Robert Mapplethorpe. A fascinating guy there, so they've done a lot of stuff, including The Hidden Fuhrer, debating The Enigma of Hitler's Sexuality. Well, there you go. If you're interested in that, they got a film, whole documentary about that for you. But they directed this film, Party Monster, 2003. Based on a true story, and right off the bat, there's been a murder, and the whole film, as Seth Green starts to narrate the film, he talks about going back to it. It's like, hey man, this is how you get the film going. We're going to circle back to this, and it's fascinating the way the film goes about, because I've always seen this poster, man, and for whatever reason I thought that I knew it was like a crime film sort of, and I always thought that perhaps it was like Macaulay Culkin was playing a younger version of Seth Green or something, because they just look so similar on the poster side by side. But no, this is based off a true story about these two friends, Michael, played by Macaulay Culkin, and James, played by Seth Green. Michael comes to New York, and I forgot when this takes place exactly. The 90s maybe. I'm not exactly sure. But they're into like the party scene and all that. They're, people are taking ecstasy at these clubs, and they're, going out and wearing these really kind of elaborate sort of costumes and all that. It's not like just going out and partying like that dude in Small Town Ecstasy. That dude who was just like, he was just going out there to the raves, man, and he just had like a baseball cap on. I mean, I talked tomorrow about that documentary. That's a good one. But no, they wear very extravagant, they're extravagant types of people. They have all this kind of makeup on and different face paint and costumes, and it's interesting because the way the film starts, man, you would immediately think to yourself like, oh man, this isn't good acting. But it's one of these things where everyone is acting on the same level, so it's not that the acting is bad, it's that everyone is acting specifically, and it works for the film. Because right from the first scene, I'm like, man, what is going on? Seth Green has this ridiculous voice that he's doing, this very kind of bourgeois, high end. I don't even know what kind of accent you would call it, man. This sort of like almost stereotypically bourgeois sort of accent that you would think of in your head, but he's talking about his life with his time with Michael, going to these clubs. Michael wants to be he starts wanting to host these parties and be kind of known, and James is showing him around. There's like a great scene early on where they're at like this donut place, and James is sort of talking about he's talking about like, well, you want to be, if you're ever with a group that being photographed, you want to be photographed on the right because they print it on the left and your name will come first. It'll say like James St. James and other, that sort of thing. So anyways, things start going well for the man, but of course when you get into the mix, you start getting more people into it, and some drugs. Ultimately, it's going to lead to some bad kind of results. This is based on a true story. Like I said, there's also the documentary Party Monster from 1998, which will be watched as well. That's only about an hour, so that's not even a full, 70-plus minute feature film, man. But some of the other cast include, I should say, Dylan McDermott, who plays the owner of this club that Michael is kind of taking over, early on. He wants to kind of make himself noticed, so he gets the water running, the sprinkler system, and Peter and him start to. Michael is trying to get more out of the friendship, or the situationship, I should say, than Peter is. He's doesn't really seem to like him all that much. You also have some small roles by people like Mia Kirshner, Natasha Lyonne, Chloe Sevigny, Marilyn Manson somewhere in this movie. I don't know where he was, man. Unless I just don't know what he looks like, which very well may be the case. John Stamos has a small role in the film. It's a good cast as well. And I was thinking, it was reminding me for whatever reason a lot of Hedwig and the Angry Inch. I think more so in the fact that, that's a film where even the way they talk in that film is kind of similar to this. And they're wearing these big kind of extravagant sort of outfits and sort of, big kind of theatrical characters. That's the John Cameron Mitchell film from, gosh, was it 2001? I think I might not be right about that. But either way, it was kind of reminding me of that at times. These characters act very kind of flamboyantly, and it's not even just that they're flamboyant. It's almost like they're the next step above that, where they're just very theatrical kind of people. All their dialogue, while it doesn't feel sincere, but it works in a way that, in the context of the film, it's all very almost like poetic in a way. A lot of the dialogue they say, but because everybody's on the same level and because they all talk the same way, it's sort of like when you watch or you read like Shakespeare and you're watching an adaptation. You don't sort of second guess yourself once everybody's talking in this sort of language where at first you'd be like, well, you're comparing it to a contemporary sort of standard as a how people talk, but in the context of this, it works. Now that's different, of course, because this is not going for quite a an ancient kind of language, like a Shakespearean sort of medieval, I suppose, if you will, kind of language. But it still works regardless with everyone else. But as it goes on, man, it was also reminding me as well that other film. What was it called? I think it's Velvet Goldmine. If that is that the one I'm thinking of, man? Is that the one with Christian Bale and Ewan McGregor? Yes, Velvet Goldmine and Jonathan Rhys Meyers. That was directed by Todd Haynes, who's I think I've talked about him on the show before. He's a wonderful filmmaker. Has done many good films. But Party Monster, funnily enough, I was always getting this movie mixed up with 24-Hour Party People, the Michael Winterbottom film. And because they have not exactly similar covers. People that have like a purple tinted cover, both have Party in the title. I think they both came around the same time too. Yeah, 24-Hour Party People was 2002, and that's a good film as well. I should also mention, I guess I can briefly mention that the Michael Winterbottom film with Steve Coogan, and that's a very eccentric, very uh, uh, specific kind of film, but that's a very fun film as well, somewhat meta, because that as well is based on a true story. Steve Coogan plays this real person, Tony Wilson, who opens up this this kind of this enterprise to host a lot of the up and coming bands in England at the time, in Manchester. So he has like factory records, and he's getting in contact with Joy Division, that band. The singer, is it Ian Curtis? Is the singer of that band? I'm not actually familiar. Let me look this up. I think it is Ian Curtis. I almost said Tony Curtis, but that ain't him. Yeah, Ian Curtis from Joy Division. It talks about sort of I mean that he's in the movie and in real life died very young. But Steve Coogan sort of like interweaving himself into like the lives of like these band members, or like not even the lives of these band members, but more so about the the bands themselves and managing them, kind of like getting them all together and being really involved in that scene, and like a lot of like the punk bands that were being played around that time, like the Sex Pistols and the Clash. And a lot of these bands I'm not super familiar with, and I mean I don't really know much about this kind of like era in music. It's not my kind of music, but it's all very fascinating. And Michael Winterbottom's a fascinating filmmaker as well. Sort of looking at his filmography here, I think he's probably most known now for his Trip trilogy with Steve Coogan as well, and Michael, what is his name? Who's actually in the film as well. Michael, oh boy, how embarrassing is that? I'm gonna get the name up right here. Don't you guys worry. It's a name that I think of. I know the name, man. It's actually Rob Brydon. Or Bryden. So I got that completely wrong. And how embarrassing is that? But yeah, he did those trilogy of films: the Trip to Italy, and the Trip to Spain. And there was something else big that he did. I'm trying to remember here. Yeah, he's done The Killer Inside Me, A Mighty Heart. There's something he did. Oh, he did Wonderland about the Wonderland murders with Val Kilmer playing John Holmes. Nope, that's not it. What the hell? What am I thinking of? That's not the same Wonderland movie. Oh my gosh, how embarrassing. I'm thinking of a different Wonderland from 2003. Oh my gosh, man. If I was more of a professional, I never would have made that crack, but good lord. He also did 9 songs in 2004, which is an interesting film. That's a film that has always had a lot of talk behind it, probably more so than the film itself. Mainly, I think probably because the big kind of draw to that film for a lot of people is the fact that, the soundtrack and the unsimulated sex. And it's just fascinating what a career that he's had. But 24-Hour Party People as well, I think for people who are really into that scene, a lot of those bands, even if you're like me and not really so much into that, you'd still be able to really kind of get something out of it, I think. But especially if you are into like a lot of those bands at that time, for sure, man. I mean, they have like nice little, funny little tidbits in the film. They actually have like the real Tony Wilson at one point where he talks to the camera and he says, "Well, this didn't really happen, but for the sake of the movie, let's just say that it did," or they says something like that, or Steve Coogan will like break character and he'll like talk about the different cameos in the film and he'll be like, "Oh well, we didn't get it, we weren't able to put this scene in the movie, but it'll be on the DVD, I'm sure." And Steve Coogan is just such a charismatic, likable lead as well. He's very good in the film. But we also have some other actors like Shirley Henderson, who was in, what was she in, Life During Wartime, I believe it was, the Todd Solondz film. Yeah, I think she was. And she's been in other films too. I don't know why I immediately just kind of think of Life During Wartime. But also, what the hell is his name, man? I want to get that name up right here as an actor I like. Yeah, Patty Considine, Andy Serkis has a small role. I'm sure there's probably other people that people would be like, oh my gosh. Lenny James, actually, who's in the film. And am I getting him mixed up with another actor? Yes, I am. I know the actor Lenny James, but for some reason I thought he was somebody else as well. Anyways, man, yeah, man, talk about diversion, man. Talking about Party Monster and then going to 24-hour Party People, but they're both good. They're both films, a bit films where the soundtrack is as big as I think the film itself. Maybe more so with 24-hour Party People, but in terms of the soundtrack being such a vital kind of component to the soundtrack, there's one part that I love in Party Monster where Seth Green is talking to another character and he's explaining the records that you should play if somebody's over, and he says, well, Madonna never fails. And if all else fails, put on techno. It's unique. No one knows the band, or whatever he says. Yeah, Party Monster. I mean, it's a serious kind of crime that happened in the film, but it's just got this energy that really kind of flows through it. I think in part because of the constant extravagance that's going on. The way that it's filmed is almost like this lower end kind of digital, and I haven't looked into the case at all whether or not it was a matter of just financial restraints or if it was an intentional sort of feel to kind of have a more real digital sort of vibe. Because then there's even one part where they're doing stuff with like a fisheye lens that works really well to kind of get into the mindset of like these characters who are messed up on drugs and getting paranoid, and you kind of feel that as well, this feeling of disorientation, man. I've never done like any of these sort of drugs before, so me as a viewer, I'm able to get a good grasp on sort of the mentality and the sort of physical and mental state these people are in at this time under this certain or distress, I should say, above anything else. But yeah, no, if I watched these films back to back, coincidentally enough, and they actually kind of complemented each other in a way. Party Monster is they're both true stories, both films about a place and time, like during this like people clubbing and stuff. And eventually, they talk about in 24-hour Party People sort of the foregoing of bands, and now the main kind of show was the DJ. People weren't cheering for the music; they were cheering for the DJ, and turning that into rave culture. And actually, you can go ahead and watch Small Town Ecstasy, I guess, if you really wanted to, as some sort of triple feature about like kind of the clubbing sort of scene, if you will. You could probably watch this first, then Small Town Ecstasy, and then Party Monster to kind of get the full sort of view going on there. Sorry, I'll have a sip of coffee. But good films, man. I like films like this where they have this really certain and specific tone, and they really kind of keep you through it. Because with Party Monster, I'm watching the film and I'm like, man, I'm just really enjoying this. It's always doing something new, something unique, whether it be just the set design, or the costumes, or just some funny little quotes that the characters have. And I should also say this is a personal favorite of a good acquaintance of mine, Mason, if he's listening. Mason was kind enough to leave a comment recently. Thank you, Mason. Mason is a wonderful person. He's extremely knowledgeable about films, especially horror films. He's one of these kinds of people you want in your life, who will enrich your life and who will really kind of leave a good impression on you. When you talk to a guy like Mason, you're going to have a stimulating, good conversation, man. So raise your glasses to Mason. I got my mug right here, but I guess this is still a glass, so you can hear it. So, hey, man. Hey, Mason, thank you for the conversations. Thank you for the film recommendations. Party Monster will forever be associated with you in my eyes. Sorry, I had to move this chair a little bit here. We got another sip of this coffee right here. So, yeah, check them out, man. Party Monster, 24-hour party people. Solid, solid films. I didn't even mean to talk about 24-hour party people, but they're both two of my favorite things I've watched this year for the first time. And that documentary, Party Monster, will definitely be watched at some point as well, for sure, to kind of get more, perhaps more specifics into the situation itself, because the film as well sort of it's bouncing around with a narrative where it starts off with the murder, and then it goes and kind of bounces around, and then even when you think you know what's going on, there's actually something else going on, and where it goes from there. But no, man, it's solid, solid stuff, man. It's yeah, if you sound like if it sounds like it'd be your thing, then give it a watch, man. It's definitely good. But it's an interesting kind of comparison right there. I mean, those two kinds of films, I actually didn't even realize until I started talking about it that it would be a good kind of double feature in a way, if you will. But boy, oh boy, man, I'm getting to the end of this coffee right here. I can taste that sugar at the bottom. Oh my gosh. Oh boy, you ever have a coffee and I don't get coffee when I'm out, man. It's sort of like if I'm at the cinema, it's one thing. I'll get the coffee, it's local coffee. It's delicious. I love holding the cup in my hand. It's nice and warm. Like I said, that cozy kind of feeling as the film plays on the screen. It is truly a feeling that money cannot buy. Well, actually, it can kind of buy. You got to pay for the damn coffee and the ticket. But you know what I mean, man. But no, I'm not going to like no chain place or nothing, man. Nothing against them. I just don't think they just don't sit well with me. I get the appeal of all those, but sometimes you get to the bottom and you just taste kind of the sugar that wasn't stirred or anything like that properly. And boy, oh boy, I think that's what I'm tasting here now. Yeah, I definitely kind of taste that a little bit. That's all right though. I'm gonna finish this off. Beautiful, beautiful, man. So much to get accomplished, man. I got the stack of films we put away. These books must be read. Writing must be accomplished. These are the things that we really got to kind of be focused on a daily basis. Whatever kind of goals that we need to get done. I mean, films must be watched, man. That's never going to stop. And books must be read. And the writing has to just keep on going, man. Good, productive writing that we can read back and go, my gosh, man, I am glad that I sat here and took the time to really kind of map this all out. It's really kind of working out for us, man. It's really wonderful. Let's see here. Let's talk about this ridiculous film. I don't really talk about so bad it's good, because I don't really like a lot of those. I don't really like talking about a lot of those films, man. It just seems like dogpiling to me. But it's one of these films where I just hadn't even heard a lot of people talking about it. It was just so ridiculous. I just wanted to at least briefly mention it, because it's just so damn wild at times, that is. We got to talk about Graydon Clark, who is a filmmaker who's done films like Black Shampoo, Without Warning, if anyone remembers that film, with Martin Landau's in that film. Holy moly. I remember I saw that film on a really rough 35 millimeter print that looked like somebody took a piss all over it, man. Excuse my French, but boy, that print did not look good. He also did The Uninvited, or Uninvited, I should say, about the killer cat in the boat. I think it's Killer Cat or Killer Cat, something like that. Joysticks, Wacko. He's done quite a number of films. Let's talk about his film from 1989 called Skinheads. Now, I saw this cover pop up, and I thought it was going to be like a documentary or something, And I guess I didn't see that the top two stars listed are Chuck Connors and Barbara Bain. Chuck Connors was, of course, in Tourist Trap. Really memorable performance in that film. Chuck Connors is just great, man. He's great in everything. Of course, he was in Soylent Green. I don't remember him in The Big Country, but I guess it says he was in there, man. But he's been in a bunch of stuff. High Desert Kill. But the film starts off, and it immediately sets the tone going forward. We have this older Jewish couple, and they own this small little, convenience store. and they're just happy living their lives, doing their thing. And oh man, the neighborhood kid comes in. Like the kid's black. He comes on in. He says, "Hey, how you guys doing? Hey, come in here, little Johnny, whatever he says." And you say, "Dan, why you got to mention the kid's black?" Well, the movie's called Skinheads, so what the hell do you think happens? A bunch of skinheads comes through, and they start causing a problem. They're walking through the store. They're opening up food. They're not paying for it, and oh my gosh, they're just giving these people a hard time. They're giving this kid a hard time. They just start beating up the kid. I mean, this kid looks like he's 10. They're just beating the hell out of him. And the father was in the Holocaust. He has he's got his numbers tattooed on his wrist. So these skinheads are not going to be nice to these people. And it becomes this ridiculous sort of film where it's a group of guys versus a bunch of skinheads in the jungle, not even in the jungle, like the mountains, man. They go to like this other group of characters. Of course, one's black, ex-Dwayne Davis, who plays the character Tiny, but he's like this big dude. And these girls and these skinheads come up and they're like, "Why are you hanging around these guys?" with some words I'm not going to repeat. You'll have to watch the film to hear what they say. But then it becomes a battle of life or death, man, and it's just completely ridiculous, man. And Chuck Connors shows up, and all of his dialogue is him in disbelief of what is going on. He plays his character, Mr. Houston, and all of his dialogue was cracking me up because he says, I mean, I wouldn't recommend making a drinking game out of it, but he says multiple times, "I can't believe the Nazis, like they're back. I thought we were done with this. I can't believe this." This is all of his dialogue. It's like, my gosh, man, I don't know, seeing is believing, man. The threat is real right now. You got to stop these guys, man. They're going to come in here and they're going to cause a problem. And, you don't watch a film like this for any kind of societal or political sort of understanding. You're not learning more about these people. You're watching this film because you want to see a bunch of these guys get beat up and stuff. You're not watching a film like Combat Girls, or a film like that, or a film like The Believer, where you're like, man, I'm the plight of a character in this situation of just having to come to terms with their ideology. And what does that mean to them, turning their life around and turning the people who are their friends behind them, man? What does that do to a person, and where does that leave them, mentally and intellectually? You're not getting any of that. You're probably get something closer to like Fight for Your Life. You guys remember that film? You remember Fight for Your Life from, what year is that from? 1970, 1970 something, man. 1977. And you got that film, man. It's just ridiculous. You got these three guys who break out of jail, and they just hold this black family hostage, and it's just ridiculous, man. You got William Sanderson in the film. I think actually, what's his name from the Karate Kid's in the film too, or maybe not. No, I'm thinking of Martin Cove, but no, that's Last House on the Left. I apologize, but yeah, Fight for Your Life. This is a ridiculous film, and it's just, it's just. You watch a film like that, man. You're not watching for any like societal sort of understanding of these people. You're watching because it's just these terrible people are being just these horrible racists for 90 minutes, and until they eventually got to fight for your life, man. It's a ridiculous film, but it also makes me kind of laugh too, because it's just so ridiculous that I kind of have to laugh at it. You can't be taking a film like this too seriously. If you're trying to look at, some people look at like older films and they try to kind of compare it to a contemporary standard of what is and isn't, what would and wouldn't fly now, and you just can't do that, man. You can't look at films made 40, 50, 60, 70 years ago and kind of put them aside and censor them, God forbid, anything like that. You got to kind of see these films and go, my gosh, man, you can't believe a film like this exists. It's wild, it's ridiculous, but it's got a certain charm to it. So I don't know if I really recommend Skinheads, because boy, it does kind of meander towards the end. But as a film I'd never even heard of, I would be lying if I said there wasn't some of it where I was just like, man, what am I watching? And hey, why not Fight for Your Life as well? That's got a Blue Underground DVD. I think the elements on that one are messed up or something like that, which is why there's no Blu-ray. At least that's what somebody told me. I have no idea if that's true or not, but something to keep in mind if you're interested in purchasing that film and are trying to wait out. I wouldn't hold my breath, but crazier things have happened. I actually have my 4K of Cafe Flesh behind me that Mono Macabro put out, so that's great, man. Didn't see that coming. So now that they did Dr. Caligari and Cafe Flesh, if we can get Night Dreams out in 4K, that would be really exceptional, man. But anyways, that's gonna be it for this episode. I've got to go refill this cup of coffee, and I've got films to watch, man, books to read, and writing to write. But thank you